Welcome to the OneSong Podcast, the only podcast you need to hear.
This week on the show, we welcome Casey and Naomi Hulteng, Cedar Rapids' finest couple in rock music. Welcome back to the OneSong Podcast. This is Gabe Reisner. In the oft-forgotten food news section of our show, we learned this episode that Luke Long, drummer for Live Broadcast, recently founded a gourmet burger blog where he samples sandwiches around the area and shares his thoughts and reviews. You can find him at lukelongsburgerblog.blogspot.com. And now, for Cedar Rapids music news.
Cedar Rapids bass guitarist Dave Paris released a new record of instrumental rock and metal titled A Jury of My Peers on February 10th. We know this because he posted a link to the album on our Facebook 7 times in one day. That's fine though. If you want to tell us about a record or anything else that you've got coming out, once or a dozen times, you can stop by our Facebook page at facebook.com/OneSongPodcast. In other new release news, Faces Turned Ashen has a new album coming out called Oh How That Dead Man Danced. They have 2 CD release parties planned, one on April 17th at Groundswell in Cedar Rapids, followed by a second show on April 18th at Otis's Tailgaters, also in Cedar Rapids. Hey Gabe, I understand you have some news about your band as well.
Well, you're right about that. My solo project, Hunter Dumped Us Here, recently, as of March, became a 3-piece. I added Jason Fight on drums and Preston West on guitar and vocals. I'm super excited about what those guys are going to bring to the table as far as writing and adding a different style into things. We also announced that in the next few months we'll be releasing a double single release entitled Sea Burial, Blue Treasure. And from what we've done so far, it's going to be one of the craziest things I've ever done. So look forward to hearing that and getting it on iTunes and Spotify. We're running headlong into summer, which means it's almost time for local and regional music festivals to kick off. 2 new festivals in Iowa were announced last month, and the Hinterland Music Festival in Des Moines was one of them, with the other being the Gentlemen of the Road Stopover Festival in Waverly. Hinterland will take place July 31st and August 1st at Waterworks Park in Des Moines. The lineup thus far includes Old Crow Medicine Show, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, Brandi Carlile, Future Islands, and TV on the Radio, along with others. And Lord knows that I love TV on the radio. The Gentlemen of the Road is a one-time stopover festival hosted by Mumford & Sons. For the past few years, the band has toured national acts around to small towns all over the world, giving folks who ordinarily don't get to see shows this big a chance to partake. The Waverly dates are June 19th and 20th and feature, in addition to Mumford & Sons, My Morning Jacket, The Flaming Lips, Jenny Lewis, and Dawes, with many more. Also on June 19th and 20th, my band, Hunter Dumped Us Here, is playing at Bash on the Farm, a free festival up in Forest City, Iowa. This is a great opportunity to take your families out and walk around to all the different stages and see all of the music.
I've been to Forest City a couple times. It's a fantastic town, and from everything I've heard, Bash on the Farm is a great time. And Cedar Rapids' own McGrath Amphitheater announced its summer lineup of concerts with a series that can only be described as nostalgia rock. Bands and solo artists playing along the river this year include Bare Naked Ladies, The Violet Femmes, George Thorogood, Brian Setzer, and Chicago. I don't know about you, Gabe, but after hearing the lineup from other parts of the state, I have to say I'm a little disappointed with the Nationals coming to Cedar Rapids.
All I know is that I'm excited to be the new vocalist of The Violent Femmes. Today, in the studio, we are welcoming Naomi and Casey.
Hi.
And we are going to listen to a track by Naomi. This is actually a new one that no one in the world has ever heard. This track is called Sex Appeal.
off, you're just using sex appeal. Take it off, bear it all, I'd rather hear your heart for real. Strip it down, shake it off, you're just using sex appeal. Take it off, bear it all, I'd rather hear your heart for real. Strip it down, shake it off, you're just using sex appeal. Take it off, bear it all, I'd rather hear your heart for real. Strip it down, shake it off, you're just using sex appeal. Take it off, bear it all, I'd rather hear your heart for real. Red lip kissing, hey, what you're missing? Where I stop glasses inside, let me look into your eyes. Front page story, show us your glory, stop flaunting your behind. I wanna hear your mind. What you hiding? What you hiding under? 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 What you hiding? What you hiding under there? You're just using sex appeal.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us, guys.
Sure.
So today we've got Naomi and Casey, who collectively represent not only Naomi's solo project, but also the band Signals, as well as Casey's band, The American Emergency. Finally, they also are the couple behind Rockadot Studios in Marion, soon to be expanded to Rockadot Studios in Elkader. So first off, can you guys tell us a little bit about the song Sex Appeal? Naomi, I realize that's you singing, but Casey, you also have a large presence on the track.
Yeah, I do most of the production. So Naomi will write the lyrics and the melody and like the chord progression and stuff. And then I usually come in and I basically get to geek out for like 2 hours just coming up with like crazy sounds and stuff like that.
Naomi, tell us a little bit about the lyrics to the song. What inspired this particular tune?
Well, my frustration with a lot of females in the music business. Well, the chorus talks about everybody flaunting their butts and wearing sunglasses inside. Like, what's the point? Basically wanting more authenticity than people flaunting their bodies.
So what you're talking about here is keeping it about the music instead of the performance aspect.
Right, exactly.
Being a true artist, you know?
Yeah,
I
not
mean-
having to hide behind anything other than your song.
Right.
Now, I bet you didn't know this, but Gabe's actually a huge Nicki Minaj fan.
Oh,
I
really?
actually flaunt my body every day.
Oh no.
We talked about that last time.
Is this
and,
song about me?
So sorry.
Casey, I heard it's rumored that you wrote this song on a 9-string Ibanez. Is that true?
It was actually 10-string Ibanez.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It came through. It
Yeah,
really
I
did.
use that low Q sharp a lot. Yeah, there's in the fat breakdown, right? It's kind of subsonic. You can't really hear it.
It's almost as heavy as Papa Roach's new album.
Almost is. We really tried to go in more of a gent direction because I really feel like that's where Naomi was really pushing this song.
Yeah, that's where my heart is.
Yeah.
Now, audio-wise, when you get into those frequencies, though, as I understand it, animals can hear them. And I know you guys have an adorable dog at home. So
Yeah.
does he enjoy the music?
She actually has run away. The 10-string guitar is a little too much to handle.
It sounds like thunder to her.
Yeah,
So she
and she doesn't like
powers.
thunder.
Now, I think I've probably at least known who you guys are for over like 5 years. But why don't you tell all the listeners how you guys met and fell in love?
To tell you the truth, on the street corner in Iowa City,
You were flaunting your body.
I was flaunting my body.
I was flaunting my body.
She was flaunting her body.
No.
She was playing guitar and singing songs with some of the boys in her band at the time, and I thought she was cute, so I threw like $10 in her guitar
We were
case.
trying to raise ice cream money, basically. We wanted to go out to Whitey's. And so we're like, let's play music and get some money. And I thought we earned a whole bunch of money, and really it all just came from Casey. And then we just found each other online later on. And
Yeah, we actually re-met again on christianmingle.com.
yeah,
So
that was weird.
I sent her a message on MySpace and asked her out for coffee.
We're a thrifty couple.
We are, yep.
Now, can you each talk a little bit about the other projects that you have going on, Signals and the American Emergency? Maybe, Casey, if you want to lead us off with the American Emergency,
Sure.
and then Naomi, tell us a little bit about Signals.
The American Emergency is a solo project. I started recording, I think about 5 years ago, and I'm finally rolling up on completing the album. But it's heavier stuff. It's kind of like my interpretation of Nine Inch Nails and like As I Lay Dying kind of smashed together, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not really much of a, like I've always been a big fan of heavy music. And I always like to have that kind of an outlet. But I also love doing stuff like Naomi's music. And then I also really love playing bass and signals. I don't really like to keep myself stuck in one genre of music, you know? I mean, I played in a hardcore band when I was like 19, 20, and it got really boring because that was my only outlet at the time. And so I really like having like a wide variety of stuff to do.
Are you going to be doing any rap?
Probably not.
Naomi, can you tell us a little bit about Signals?
Signals is a group of 5 people. Derek Jones is the lead singer.
Yeah, he was in Levin and
Yeah.
Tragedy Versus. He was the singer for those bands.
And Jason Fight is our drummer. And then there is Steve Barker, who is guitar, and then Casey and I. And when we have to describe our sound, we usually say it's like if the Beatles and Pink Floyd had a baby.
And then that baby formed a 90s alternative rock band.
That's what Signals would sound like. We write all our own stuff, and usually it ends up being like one of us comes up with a riff or a lyric, and then everybody else puts their stuff on top of it. We're really good. This group of people is really good at collaborating really equally. It's a really good relationship that way. Our basic rule is it good for the song? And we put our pride aside and just try to focus on what's best for the song instead of who gets what part and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really nice being a part of a band that's like, they've been around the music scene so long that when you tell them, hey, that part just doesn't fit, they're like, oh, okay. And so we move on and we can be like productive instead of being married to our ideas and just trying to keep a riff in there just because you wrote it, you know?
Yeah.
And then tweeting about each other.
Yeah. And then tweeting about each other behind our backs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, to clarify, I want to pull in something from our news segment today. You mentioned that in Signals, you have Jason Fight playing drums. Mm-hmm. And Gabe mentioned that Jason recently joined Hunter Dumped Us Here as well.
That is true.
And so for those outside of the area, I just want to make it abundantly clear, there's only one percussionist / drummer in Cedar Rapids.
Right.
His name is Jason Fight.
That's correct.
And if there is a band in this town, he's probably playing drums in it.
Or has at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually loves to fight, too. So if you ever see him, just try to start something.
Just
There you
punch
go.
him.
He'll throw
Just
down
punch
anywhere.
him
Anywhere.
right in the face.
Yeah.
Finally, on the long list of things that you guys have going for you, I know you also have a home studio. Mm-hmm. So what was really behind that? Why did you guys start recording? And was it a convenience thing? Was it a passion thing? Where does this come from?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's always been part of like my creative process. When I was like 14, I got a copy of Cakewalk, and so I'd been like programming MIDI and stuff like that since then. And so it just was kind of a natural extension. Like I wanted to start, doing my own, like writing my own music with guitars and drums and stuff like that. And so it required more audio equipment. I had a really meager setup actually until I married Naomi, because she was bigger into recording at the time than I was, or at least had more money. But so I actually inherited a lot of gear when we got married.
That's actually why he married me.
It's true, actually. That's
For my rack
yeah,
unit. My rack unit.
a rack mount gear.
Well, in not only have you do you have the studio for your own recording, but you've now branched out and worked with a lot of other local artists, giving them a chance to lay down some tracks.
Yeah,
Why did you want to open it up to the broader community instead of just keeping it for yourselves?
I've just always loved like working on creative stuff. Every like Joe Schmo job I've ever had, I've just hated, and the one thing I really like doing is messing around with audio. So it just kind of made sense. And I love working with artists and stuff like that too.
I guess got interested in it because I've played music since I could stand, basically. We grew up in church, and so we were all very involved in leading worship and singing special music with my dad and stuff. And so playing and writing and singing always kind of was just there always. And so, of course, I wanted to record it, but I went to college and learned how to do enough to at least record my own music. I ended up liking Logic for my workstation, and so that's what we use mostly. And I was glad that I married someone like Casey because he likes doing all the stuff that I hate doing, and vice versa. So.
It's a pretty symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love tracking and getting people's best performances, and he likes the mixing, and I don't actually like. I like having my input on producing, but I don't actually like to do it. So we have a pretty good working relationship when it comes to the studio.
So you guys are heading up to Elkader, which is up in northeast Iowa. So what's behind that move?
Well, that's where Naomi's parents live. She's wanted to go back there. She's actually pretty depressed when I took her to Cedar Rapids.
I've grown to love it.
Yeah, she likes it now, but we've always wanted to have our own like really legitimate recording space because we just use our basement now, which is fine, but you know, after a while you kind of want to work your way up a little bit. So the building that we bought has a studio that's been running in it since the 70s, I think.
It's a storefront.
Yeah, it's a storefront building, and then the upstairs is an apartment and a studio. And it's just another step towards us, like, you know, doing something like that for a living. You know, and it had all the space, has all the gear, you know, everything already set up. And so it's really, like, you couldn't ask for a better situation. You just walk in and there's a studio ready to go.
Turnkey, as they say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
But we're still going to be very involved in the Cedar Rapids scene. We're only an hour and a half away, and we're not giving up any of our bands or our clients or anything. So we'll stay relevant.
Yeah.
So if people want to get a hold of you, have you play a show or record their record, how do they get a hold of you? Or you have a presence online?
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace only.
Yeah. Reverb Nation and MySpace only.
No,
We have Rockadot Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. It's facebook.com/Rockadot, ROCKADOT.
Like polka dot, but rock.
All right. Website will be coming soon. And then on the Rockadot, you can find all of our information for our other bands. It's just a matter of stalking a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll find us.
Fantastic. This has been Casey and Naomi Hulteng on the OneSong Podcast.
I'm the biggest hypocrite in 2015. When I finish this, if you listen, then sure you will agree. This plot is bigger than me.
I know this is the moment you've been waiting for. So now, we will talk about what we've been listening to recently. I've been listening to a lot of different things, but most of the time recently I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar's new album, To Pimp a Butterfly. His last album was very good, but it was more kind of straight of the line what you would expect from rap. But this album is a mix of funk, soul, spoken word, rap, hip-hop, basically everything you could imagine, and focuses a lot on addictions, race, issues with police. It's just a very real and raw album, and you can definitely feel the emotion and time he put into it, so it's definitely a great one. And in addition to that, I've also been enjoying Falling Up's 2013 release called Hours.
For me, it's been the new record from Anna Libra of Des Moines. The band recently released their debut full-length album. It's titled Nevermind, I Love You. That came out on Some Pump Records. The band has a wonderful, dreamlike quality that strongly references the 90s shoegaze movement out of the UK. It's chill to the point where the few times the album actually ramps up, you seem almost jarred by it. But really, Nevermind I Love You is delightful all the way through. I ordered a vinyl copy for myself and have gone through it 3 or 4 times since it arrived about a week ago. Well, that's it for this week. As always, check us out online at facebook.com/OneSong Podcast, where you can stay in touch with us and hear the songs that we played on this week's show.
One final note on our way out. Last month, OneSong agreed to take over management of the Cedar Rapids music scene page on Facebook from Andy Patterson. We are honored that Andy trusts us with his baby, and we hope to continue to grow the site and use it to help bolster the scene. And really, that's what we're trying to do with all of this podcasting, Facebook pages, and etc. Thank you all for your support thus far. Together we're making this town awesome.
Thanks for listening, guys.